it's the worst.
Beyond the Texans?
Yes.
Giants?
Yes.
What up, boys and girls? I'm Jeremy. That's Drew. This is the Full Coverage Football Show. How you doing tonight, brother Drew?
I'm good, man. It's good to see you. This is week 2. We're kind of getting back into it. Last week was, getting some rust knocked off, but it's good to be back. It was good to watch football on Sunday.
100%.
Yeah. Was it though for you?
I mean, yeah. It's you said knocking the rust off, right? That's what we're doing?
Yeah, there was some rust to be knocked off. And listen,
I mean, half the league couldn't throw for 200 yards, including the quarterback from my team and that played on the field behind me here. I mean, we'll get into that in a little bit. We have to get into that, unfortunately. And I've got a crazy take, as I posted, whenever I sent the link out and whatever, where I'm going to talk about Deshaun, and I'm going to sound like a freaking moron. Fuck it. Fucking moron. This is the Full Coverage Football Show. Why am I trying to edit myself here? And Drew's going to call me an idiot, and I fully expect this to happen because I'm going to deserve it. But, yeah, I mean, your team, on the other hand, the guys whose jersey you're wearing right now, he didn't do shit, but the rest of the team looked good, including a guy you've been waiting for him to do something since you drafted him. How'd you feel about the way your team played?
Here's the thing that you mentioned something about the league throwing for under 200 yards. If you look statistically, since these starters have been literally not playing a snap, the offenses in general have not been playing a preseason snap. Like, that's just what it's going to look like for a week or two. My team was fine. The offense was bad. It wasn't good at all. But I will say that the defense was pretty damn good. The new secondary looked great with Terrion Arnold and Carlton Davis, and it's a nice new looking defense. But here's the deal, man. Everybody's going to go through a little bit of pains, especially the teams that literally rested their entire starting offense. You can only simulate so many things in camp, and it comes to a regular season game, and that's just the way it is. And that's why you see a lot of injuries early, because guys aren't used to playing full speed reps. But yeah, listen, the Lions, the impressive part about it was they closed the game in dominant. I mean, that's the Dan Campbell style of playing football. They just ran the ball down their throat. One pass to Sam Laporta was all we saw in overtime. And listen, also on the other end of the field, Matt Stafford was fantastic. Puka Nacua was injured early on. He had no starting left tackle. He had no starting right tackle. They had to move Jonah Jackson to guard. It was a complete mess. And what McVay and Stafford did with the game plan, they got the ball out of his hands quick. And Matt Stafford is still really damn good. But the fact that the Lions closed the game the way they did, that's Dan Campbell football. And listen, it's hard to win in this league, and that team is a good team. We saw it in the wild card game. So 1-0, but I'm not overly concerned about the offense. I think reps kind of make things better over time. But yeah, it was good. I just these primetime games, dude, I'm not used to staying up till midnight. It sets me back.
Yeah, it was a hell of a win for your team, the way they played, not being perfect out there. Amon-Ra not doing much. It didn't look great, but like you said, they didn't play a lot of guys in the preseason. Even when we talked about the Steelers offense, or the Steelers, the way they were playing when we were talking preseason, you said they played you guys, and you guys were playing third stringers the whole game, and they were playing starters. Now, the Steelers somehow ended up winning, not getting a touchdown. Only team in the AFC North to win. They didn't score a touchdown. That was crazy. When we talk about last weekend, my favorite thing from last weekend, the fact that Michigan and Notre Dame lost on the same day. That's a good day for me as a college football fan and a guy who doesn't like either one of those teams.
Northern Illinois rolls in and takes on Notre Dame. I hate Notre Dame. I hate Michigan as well, but Notre Dame, I hate Notre Dame. And so it's like join a conference, you're shut up, and they still haven't, and now they lose at home. As a 30-point favorite.
And you paid them $1.4 million to come into your stadium, and then you lose. As a team, that you're the fifth ranked team in the country. You're Notre Dame. You're supposed to be this great school. You've lost to Marshall in the past couple years with Marcus Freeman. Like, I'm a Marcus Freeman fan. I'm not a Notre Dame fan, but that was big. Now, Michigan, we expected them to lose. I feel like that was an easy bet for both of us. We talked about on the show. And then we go into Sunday. Sunday, did you expect the Cincinnati Bengals to lose to the New England Patriots and basically get their asses kicked in that game? Like, it felt like Cincinnati was never in it, even though it was a one-score game most of the game.
So, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, now I can. You're breaking up a little bit there before, but now you're clear.
I was fighting over if you were the robot or if I was the robot, and it sucks that I was the robot.
One of us was.
So, believe it or not, in the guys in my group chat, one guy's a Bengals fan, but everybody kind of was like, I like Pat's money line. And we just didn't do it to, at least I didn't do it personally because I felt bad to be like, hey, listen, I'm going against Bengals. But the Bengals look like trash. No T. Higgins. They didn't have a running game, really. Their defense got shredded. And let's be honest, New England didn't do anything special. They just ran the football. And that's, what they do. It's just that team, it's hard to get. I keep hitting on the preseason thing. So not only was T. Higgins holding out, which he missed some practice, Jamar Chase, you didn't see him at all. Yes, I know T. Higgins missed the game with the hamstring, but still, when's the continuity kind of come? Because you got a guy hurt now. You got Jamar Chase played, was kind of non-existent. That offense needs reps together, especially bringing in a new backfield. You lose Joe Mixon, like they look terrible, and it's tough, but that's just the way it is.
100% with you. Do we overrate Joe Burrow?
No, I don't think so. I also think you have to take into consideration Joe Burrow's last two injuries are an elbow and kind of a wrist, and that's not great on the throwing hand.
I love the fact that we were freaking out. There's people freaking out on the internet because he didn't look like he lifted a Gatorade bottle.
Yeah. Come on. Yeah. And I agree. Zach Taylor, I mean, it does feel broken right now. But again, it's like they're a little less concerning, but it has a similar feeling to kind of what's going on with your team right out of the gate. Like everybody's like in complete panic meltdown after week one. I think Joe Burrow is really good, but that team just there's so many different people pulling in different directions as far as guys being on the field and what they're able to do. It's just they'll eventually get it going, but like how long can you go? Say you go 3 or 4 weeks and play like absolute shit, and you go 1-3, and you play in one of the best divisions in football. Like you are playing from way behind the 8 ball, and you don't really have time in this league to figure your shit out. You got to, be able to roll out and play. And I just don't, as of right now, see that from them. And again, I don't know when all these guys are going to be playing on the field together. They've had no reps together. It's basically like a crapshoot at this point out there.
All right, we'll get into my team. We brought him up a couple times. We're going to talk about him in a little bit because I got something stupid to say about Deshaun Watson. What else did you like from this past weekend? Football, college, or pro, whatever you want to talk about.
I mean, we had a great game Thursday night, right?
Yep.
Literally a toe of way. The other night, like go back to the Tennessee game and how crazy that game was, right? Like they and people and even the coach was like, we could have punted on first down and probably won that game. Will Levis is just careless, and I don't want to hate on Will Levis, but
full brain.
My God, that last interception was crazy. Like the benefit of it, he was throwing an out, and it's like if everything went well, you got 1 yard. It's because it was a 2-yard pass, but he had to throw entirely across the field. It's just the witching hour red zone. It was great. I mean, what the Bears did. I mean, I don't like what the Bears did, but it's like, man, that was a crazy game, and it was good to have football back. And even last night, what Jordan Mason was able to do with Christian McCaffrey not playing. Wait, was that last night? What did it say? Wednesday? No, 2 nights ago. That's a legit team out there in San Fran. We know that, but it was interesting to see Aaron Rodgers. I didn't think he was terrible. No. But that defense just could not stop the run at all.
That Shanahan offense, it seems like you could put anyone back there. They're going to get 100 yards almost. The touchdown run that Mason had, I think it was like a 17-yard touchdown run. You could drive a freaking Mack truck through that hole.
Yeah.
And just walk in. Like, I could run with my David Bell, like 6'6", 40 and make it into the end zone on that. It's pretty sad. Something else I liked from the weekend I'll talk about is Nebraska. Nebraska dominating Colorado. And listen, I'm a Deion Sanders fan. Like, as a football player, I was a big Deion Sanders fan. Right now, I'm just sick of his shit. And the fact that it feels like he's taking care of 2 kids, maybe 3 kids total, and talking shit and hating on 70 other kids. Now, I'm talking about stuff I like. I won't get into that right now. But seeing Nebraska play like that, interesting. And it'll bring us into a topic we talked about earlier. Is Nebraska back? And do we need to define or change the definition of what it means to be back? Like, when we talk Nebraska being back, it's like they're not going to win 40 in a row. It's not going to be the triple option. It's not going to be the Tom Osborne, Tommy Frazier teams. It's not going to be the greatest offensive lines you'll ever see. But are they back to being a good enough team where you can actually say, hey, they could be a playoff team and maybe do some damage? Something like that.
I kind of want to think that early on, but like, again, that's not a good Colorado team they just beat up on. That's a bad football team. And Deion Sanders is to blame. Like, he shows up, he runs all the people out of town, basically saying he's bringing his own guys. He did nothing in the portal, clearly, to improve the fat guys up front. That the offensive line, his son's getting killed, and you want to be like, okay, this kid, of course he's going to be an NFL quarterback, but like, there's only so much you can do when you don't have any time with the ball. Their defense is atrocious. They don't get any pressure rushing the passer. Nebraska, I like the win, but I'm not willing to be like, they're going to only lose 2 games in the Big Ten, because I believe that Nebraska could lose 2 games in the Big Ten, and to your point, potentially still make the college football playoff. Because I do see 3 to 4 Big Ten teams probably being in it. But it's fun to watch Nebraska. They got the dude. It's okay. The Rayola, he's weird, dude. The Patrick Mahomes cosplay is weird. Is it not weird?
I mean, it is, because you look on the field and you're like, the fuck is Pat Mahomes doing out there in Nebraska jersey?
Like, it's just like, what if he gets to the NFL and has to play Patrick Mahomes? Is he
but
still
at the same time, like, this kid's a true freshman. He's what, 18 years old? Yeah. Pat Mahomes has been in the league 7 years. Like, he's watched him grow up, like, since he was 11, played at Texas Tech. Like, this kid is 9 years old. He's like elementary school age when Pat Mahomes in college. It's hard to think like that Pat Mahomes has been around that long for us and how young this kid is. Like, I get that, but at the same time, the cosplay, it's a little weird because everything he does is Pat Mahomes.
It's not a little weird, bro. It's not a little. It's
dressed
full-blown like weird. It's
the haircut. Weird. I mean, the kid's been balling out in his first 2 games, and Matt Rule, for the garbage he was as a Panthers head coach, and maybe it's not him with the Panthers, because Panthers looks like they've got some issues going on there.
I love Matt Rule. I do like Matt Rule. I think Matt Rule is the perfect kind of guy for college. 100%. I really do. And he just seems to be like a guy that would embrace and kind of get college players up more than he would NFL players. And I think that he's going to do good things in Nebraska.
Yeah, he already has. I mean, look what he's turned that team into. Like, Scott Frost came in. Scott Frost was supposed to be in there, bring him back to prominence, and he was terrible. Yeah. I mean, he was Golden Boy going home, and it was just so bad. And they couldn't recruit. Bad. Everything just looks terrible. All right, anything else good we want to talk about before we move on and talk about my team here?
Nothing's better than talking about your team, my friend.
All right.
Pivot right on over there.
Let's go. All right, the Cleveland Browns got their asses handed to them. I don't remember what the final score was. What was it, 33-17 or like
32
whatever
or 33
it was.
To 17.
It was terrible. That whole game was god-awful. And you brought up something earlier with the way that the Rams looked and Matt Stafford looked. They didn't have their tackles. Well, people are like, oh, well, the Browns didn't have either one of their tackles. Matt Stafford, a veteran quarterback, got the ball out quick, found Cooper Kupp, found his weapons.
14 times or something, by the way.
But they played the game they needed to play, and it kept Aiden Hutchinson from destroying him. The Cleveland Browns did not play that game at all because they were there without their starting tackles, even though DeJuan Jones started most of last year because Jack Conklin was injured in the first game. So when they're giving him credit for being, it's their backup tackles, no, not really. DeJuan Jones played damn well as a rookie. He is coming off a knee injury, but he's still your starting right tackle for 16 games last year. But you look at the overall play. That team did not look inspired. They did not look good going in. You can blame the head coach. You can do whatever you want. The problem with the Cleveland Browns is the fact that number 4 looked like garbage again. Held the ball too long, didn't see open receivers, ended up finishing 24 45, 169 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. And probably should have thrown about 2 more picks. Our guy Trayvon Diggs, big show favorite here. If anyone watched our first draft show,
good draft, Trayvon Diggs.
Trayvon Diggs, baby, like Trayvon Diggs, 4 hours. I mean, the Browns, they were trash, and 90% of it can be fixed. That other 10% is the fact that number 4 continues to look like absolute garbage. Now, I'm going to say, I don't know. I'm going to sound like an idiot here. Number 4, playing behind that offensive line, should have been better. They should have ran the ball more. Number 4 should be here as a starting quarterback. That trade, still the right move. Still the right move. You gave up a ton. Yes, the Texans look great. Obviously, they drafted well. They took the picks. They did well. Texans are maybe the second best team in the AFC. However, if you go back and you have the opportunity to make this trade, you still make this trade 100 times out of 100. Even knowing what you know now. And the reason I say that, even though Baker Mayfield and the Baker Bros have been very, very loud this week when he went 24-30, 289 yards.
Passer rating, that guy that called the radio.
4 touchdowns. Yeah, it's terrible. And the Browns sucked. I get it. But the point of playing in the NFL is to win Super Bowls. Baker Mayfield wasn't going to lead this team to a Super Bowl. And for all the people saying how good Baker is now, congrats to Baker. Yeah, this is exactly what I'm expecting from this, by the way. You're 100% right. Baker playing great football deserves all the props. Deshaun playing like trash, and now we've got another lawsuit coming up, and we're not even going to get into that until all the facts are out. But when you look back at it, you want to win Super Bowls. And when they made this trade...
It didn't happen. I'm sure, 100% sure that didn't happen, that new allegation.
Hey, they're all allegations so far.
Matt called them old butt rubs. That's crazy.
This is terrible. I'm trying to defend this guy, but not really defend this guy. I'm just trying to defend the trade. And I can't even get it out because I know how stupid it sounds. However, you want to win Super Bowls. And when you traded for this guy, he was a far better quarterback than Baker Mayfield was. You traded for a 25-year-old guy who was a multiple-time Pro Bowler, who looked like a top 5 player at the position. This was to win a Super Bowl. As far as you were going to go with Baker is as far as you went last year with Joe Flacco. You're probably going to lose in the first round, maybe make the second round and lose. Your hope when you made this trade was that you would go to a Super Bowl, and you need a top 5 quarterback usually to do that, unless you're running a Shanahan offense and you can run through giant holes and you got Brock Purdy. So when it comes down to that trade, I will back Andrew Berry on that trade. However, that's as far as I'm even going to go with this because I can't stick up for the dude anymore. I sound like an idiot saying it, and I know it sounds stupid. But you play to win the game.
You're sticking up for the trade. Like that's...
I mean, yeah. Because of what you expected it to be.
Yeah. No, I get the expectation. Here's something I'll say. You are crazy. That is lunatic behavior and thoughts. And I'm worried for your well-being for thinking those things. I don't know if Baker's attitude was necessarily, and I'm not saying he's like a bad attitude guy or a bad locker room guy, because I don't think he is at all. But I just don't know if that fit with what Stefanski was wanting to do. But here's the deal, dude. I used to be the guy that would say Jared Goff is a dude that can't win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Maybe Baker Mayfield is that, right? Because and Matt just says, Baker's Jared. Like, here's the thing I think about it. It's like when I get Jared Goff, everybody's like, oh, you can't win a Super Bowl with Jared Goff. And it's like, but could you? Because here's the thing is, you have a correct, like if you build the team right and you can run the shit out of the ball and your guy can be efficient, whether he's dinking dunk or not, you can win that way. We just showed it last year. Like Jared Goff and Brock Purdy were in the NFC Championship game, and that's a fact. But here's the deal with the Browns, though. It's like, so you trade him. Now, if you could be a Browns fan right now and you could put Baker Mayfield into this team, this would be, again, a very competitive team that's looking to make the playoffs. The thing for me is just that Deshaun Watson doesn't feel like a fit at all. The dude, to
No.
me, his body language sucks. I don't know if his teammates even like him, even though they keep standing up for him. There's constantly shit that comes up every week. The guy has a sore shoulder every Tuesday, and it's like enough is enough. We paid you $230 million, and you have been ass. You have had a quarter and a half of football that makes you even look like a decent quarterback. Everything else you've done has been terrible. You look this week, he escapes clean pockets. He runs out of clean pockets. He
Ran
throws
into trouble a
all the
million
time.
times.
Yeah, he's thrown into double coverage all the time. He's not seeing the field correctly. Again, you've paid him so much money, and this is what you get. And then the Browns fans are like, this sucks. Now, Jameis Winston's there. I'm not of the thinking that you can just pop Jameis Winston in right now. You have to give this 4 weeks
You
at
have to.
least. You have to. You're too attached to this. You're into it too big. It just, to me, this situation feels like shit. And I think if Andrew Berry could do it over again, he holds on to Baker. And let's not forget that Baker, essentially, they rolled his ass out there with a bum shoulder for
They did.
10 games. And then after that, they cut him because his play wasn't good. The guy was injured.
Another thing with Baker at that time was he was immature. And he was playing for a contract, not necessarily playing for the team. There's all kinds of locker room stories, and we're not going to go all the way back into it. There's a lot of issues. But right now, the fact is Deshaun Watson is playing like trash. Jameis Winston, who has been a backup for most of the last, 3 or 4 years, has a 300-yard game more recently than Deshaun Watson. It's that bad. And when it comes to the person or the trade being worse, they both fucking suck.
Ooh, that was the question? What was it?
Yeah, it was what's worse, Deshaun Watson, the person, or the trade itself?
Oh, shit. Dude, that is... I don't know. He still seems like a real... I mean, all right. I think it's an easy thing because you can't, the dude was like essentially raping people, which isn't great. So I got to say the worst person is him. But like his quarterback play is looking pretty rapey to Browns fans right now.
100%. I mean, you look at it overall. Am I choppy over here? I look choppy on my end.
So,
I'm not sure.
is it me? Is it you?
I think it's me this time.
You look choppy as shit, dude. Yeah,
Okay.
You do.
Let me try something. Go ahead and talk about anything you want. I'm gonna see
what's it? Leroy. What's the burner?
Leroy
name?
Bickerstaff.
Leroy Bickerstaff has hacked this feed. Leroy Bickerstaff. The internet's the best because the internet somehow they must not have jobs because somehow there's some group of people that have deemed that they have found Deshaun Watson's burner, which is Leroy Bickerstaff. Decent name for a burner. Anyway, he basically just for the entire week has just posted things like backing up Deshaun Watson, which everybody that's watched that game knows that that's something that you can't actually do because it was so bad. But Leroy Bickerstaff, God bless him. I mean, the guy wanted to sound off on the internet, but like if that is, and I'm not saying this is real, but if that is really the case, that just shows where he is mentally.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not the place to be. I guarantee you right now, Jared Goff is not out there searching social media about what people are saying about him.
No, Jared Goff has been a hell of a player since he got to Detroit.
And what does Deshaun Watson think they're going to say about him? Dude, you've been dog shit the whole time. You've been injured or you're dog shit. You're dog shit or you're injured. We're tired of this shit.
I think he surrounds himself with yes men is a problem. Like Quincy Avery's quarterback coach never said a bad thing. Oh, he's throwing better and faster and harder than he's ever done before. Well, he still can't fucking read a defense.
Mindset, best shape of his life, Miguel Cabrera. Yeah.
I mean, whatever. All right, after week 1, who are the best teams in the NFL? Give me your top 5 teams off the top of your head real quick.
Well, Kansas City. Start out with Kansas City, I think. Yeah. I also think Baltimore's there. It's hard to – Baltimore looked shaky. One thing about the Baltimore game, Lamar Jackson running like that's not a sustainable thing. That's not a thing that's going to be sustained. He can't run like that. I think the Lions are still in the top 5 teams. San Francisco is still in the top 5 teams. And so then that leaves you the third team. You say, is it the Eagles? The Eagles look really good. It's tough because me personally, I'd put Buffalo right there. And I had a lot of questions with Buffalo, but Josh Allen's crazy. And Josh Allen balls out. Those would be my 5 teams. I would put Buffalo there at the 5.
Yeah, Buffalo looked pretty good. I mean, Kansas City looked good. I think Houston looked really, really good. To take all those guys they added in the offense, still looks smooth. Give Joe Mixon 30 carries. Maybe it's the fact that Indy's defense isn't that great. That team looked
Joe Mixon
really,
going
really good.
2018 Joe Mixon was not on the bingo card.
No. And Nico Collins, still that dude. What a catch on 3rd and 12. We talked about that earlier in the week. Unbelievable. Your Lions, I think your Lions are a top 5 team. 49ers, and let me throw in the Bills at number 5. I like the Bills too because of Josh Allen himself. Throwing to guys, you could basically throw anyone out there. He's going to try to find a guy open. They're going to play well. James Cook's going to get close to 20 carries a game. They're going to try to run the ball. They may not be great at it, but at least they're trying to do it. And eventually they're going to get both tight ends put in. I think that team's pretty good. And we get to see them tomorrow night when they take on Miami. Now, before we get into this weekend, anything else you want to talk about from this past weekend? Or any other random things you want to bring up?
Is this like a me to tell you Tyreek Hill?
Yeah, let's talk about Tyreek Hill.
It feels like that's what it is.
Let's go. Let's do it. What'd you think about the Tyreek Hill situation, Drew?
I mean, he was essentially Scotty Scheffler.
Wait a second. Scotty Scheffler. I'm not going to say anything else other than that. Go ahead.
Scotty Scheffler. The difference was Scotty Scheffler actually went to jail and had to get posted out. But
yeah,
and he was very respectful. It's a slippery slope because I'll say, for me, watching the video, Tyreek Hill acts like a complete asshole at first, which we know Tyreek Hill's past, right? Yeah. Not a good dude, right? And that's fine. But at the same time, although he's a complete dick and didn't comply with what they were saying, probably a little over the top by the cops there too. And I mean, I can't say a little over the top. It was pretty crazy because the officers, they were like, yeah, do you know this is Tyreek Hill? It's like, so you know it's Tyreek Hill even. And in broad daylight, you're just going to just tackle the dude by his neck. That's not great either. Not sure what the cops were thinking. But again, Tyreek Hill is a dick, but that's not something that we've just learned from what happened on Sunday morning in Miami. Tyreek Hill is going to be a dick. That's just who he is. But like, that's some questionable policing at the same time, because that was a little of a power trip there. I think from the Miami-Dade police.
Yeah, you're 100% right. Both sides didn't do a lot of things right. Cops definitely overboard. Tyreek Hill, obviously, rolling the window down, rolling it back up, being Tyreek Hill, the guy we kind of know he is.
I sucked.
I mean, the whole situation sucked. And, I mean, if I'm the cops, I'm a little more worried about 6'9", 330-pound Calais Campbell standing over there. Like, I'm just getting that situation out of the way because Calais Campbell, I don't want him coming across that car and bringing any of his shit over there. Yeah, the entire situation completely messed up.
I agree.
And, yeah, I mean, just try to listen at first. Cops are idiots. People are idiots. Everyone's idiots in some way.
I was golfing. I was out golfing on Sunday morning. What a way to spend a Sunday. You golf, you watch football all day, Lions at nightcap. But the group text, I saw somebody say Tyreek was arrested. And I'm like, well, that can't be a real thing. and then I was like, that can't be real. And they're like, yeah. And then I look at my phone. It was like, yeah, Tyreek Hill's been arrested. It was like a Scotty Scheffler story, honestly. You have like literally the best player. You could argue Tyreek Hill's the best player in the league.
Hey, he was voted number 1 by the NFL Top 100, if that matters to anyone.
So you have the best player in the league getting arrested before their tee time or kickoff. It's just not something that you see quite often.
Bizarre times. I mean, Tyreek, he looked like he was going 100. I didn't see the actual speed, but dude was flying past the cops. I mean, obviously did something wrong to bring it on. The rest of the situation, ridiculous. However, let's move on to this weekend. Let's see what games we got. Let's get in the NFL. Anything good college you want to bring up coming into this weekend?
Ooh, you know what? Let me pull it up real quick. Give me just 1 second here. Yeah, hang on. Let me see if the
There's
Tigers are in the top of the ninth. All right, Tigers making a wild card push. I
They
don't know if
were
you know
three and a
about that.
half back last time I sent something to you. I haven't looked since. Where they at right now?
They're 3 back now, but they're winning right now.
Okay.
Sorry, nobody gives a
It's
shit
cool.
about the
And
Tigers.
while you're pulling that up, I'm going to complain about MTV Music Awards, which, hey, my kids are watching these things. I didn't even know that they still had them. And, growing up, it was always the Moon Man. Now it's the Moon Person. And my old white ass is annoyed with the fact that they call it a Moon Person. That's all I could think of the whole time is why do we got to call it a Moon Person? It's a Moon Man. They
I
win the
mean,
Moon Man.
you
Moon
know the
Person.
answer to this
Why?
question.
Why?
Right?
Why?
You know
I
the
know
answer
the
to
answer,
this
but it
question.
still annoys the shit out of me.
Is it a trans man, or is it just a man, a moon like?
It's not a man, it's a person. Are men not people? Am I not a person? I don't even know what the hell I am these days.
Gotta be careful. You might not be a person anymore. I don't know. Pushing you out.
Well, thanks for coming back for 2 shows. We're going to get canceled.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, it's good. It's good
We
seeing
will.
you.
We're definitely going to have to talk about when we get in the NFL here. Panthers starting their playoff push in week 2. Hey, good tickets still available. 2 tickets for $180. I saw earlier this week. If you want to go to the opener, I'm sure those will sell. Hopefully,
My
did you
favorite
find
part
any
is
game? What?
Brian lives in Charlotte,
Oh,
so he could take your lady for a nice, enjoyable day
hey,
out in the beautiful downtown Charlotte.
can't go wrong. Had some good times in Charlotte. I like Charlotte. It's a nice
He pays
place. And for $1,
$50 to park and $1.80 to get in the game. That's the shit. That's crazy. The parking's at least 30, $40, and then you just got to buy $12 beers. It's like, what the fuck did I come out here
you're
for?
saving the money on the tickets. It's
Might
like,
as well start a fire in the backyard with the money.
oh man, did you find any college games?
It's not a good slate this weekend, honestly.
All
The
right.
only one that good was Missouri and Boston College.
BC. We'll find out if Bill O'Brien's coaching a real team or not when they face Missouri.
Yeah, it's not a great slate, but that's the thing with the NFL. They're always good slates.
Yep. And it starts tomorrow night. Bills versus Dolphins in Miami, 8:15. Let's hope Tyreek makes it safely to the stadium this week with no issues. Who you like in this game?
The Buffalo Bills. Yeah,
The
I
Buffalo
listen. I
Bills.
like the Dolphins and what they have going on. I'm pretty sure Jalen Waddle's injured. Can you confirm that? Pretty sure he's out.
He is. Is he out officially? I was talking
Maybe
with my
not out,
kid.
but
We were checking her fantasy team, and he was dealing with injury. I'm not sure if he was out yet.
yeah. So I think Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill at the same time do things to defenses that you just can stretch them out. You can go. You know what I mean? You can layer it out. You can go with a mid route, and then you go with a deep ball, and it just kind of gets people more open. So I think that's a concern. Their running backs are banged up. Achane and Mostert are banged up.
Yep.
That's a concern. And I honestly just find the Bills to be a team that just does whatever it is to get done. And I wasn't hyped on this team this year just because of the loss of Diggs and Gabe Davis, and then you put Curtis Samuel in there, and that didn't get me too excited. But I think that Josh Allen's just that good, honestly.
Josh
And
Allen's that dude.
I think he's going to get it done with whoever's there. So I would take the Bills. And Miami's minus 2.5 points. So give me the Bills money line all day long.
Yeah, I also 100% agree with that. I got nothing to add to it. 49ers and Vikings. 49ers traveling to Minnesota, it looks like, based on whatever I just clicked on. Sam Darnold, more fantasy points last week than Pat Mahomes. We all saw that coming. Tells you how weird the first week is.
Yeah.
Sammy D did look solid, though. Both 1-0. Who you like in this one? Looks like no calf again.
Jordan. And that's the thing. I keep hearing no calf, and then before we came on the show, I saw a report that McCaffrey said he's ready to go. So I don't know. Regardless, here's the deal for me. You take Jordan Addison out of it because Jordan Addison's going to miss this week, immediately injured with all the mess he's had in the offseason. The 49ers are just the way better team. Now, I do think that Sam Darnold's a better quarterback than people are going to say, oh, look, Sam Darnold. I think he's serviceable, but I'm taking the 49ers. That's just a better team.
Yeah, 49ers should win this one. I expect them to win this one easy. What's the spread on this one?
6.
6?
I'll take 6 right now. Honestly, I might have to. I'm pull it up and bet it right now.
I'm writing that down right now. That's definitely going to be added to my list. Doing way better betting college games than I did last week on NFL. Don't even want to talk
But
about me
again, though, the
taking the
NFL is
Panthers.
going to be it's going to be weird to the first couple of weeks because no preseason. I college is the way to get spreads that are goofy, like like Bowling Green last week. Like I got somebody, they said, "Hey, bet Bowling Green," and that was about as easy as money as you can get.
Yeah.
Like you can find lines in college that are 50 points, and you're like, just in theory, a team can blow somebody out so bad they bring in guys that look like me and and you get some points scored on them. So yeah, give me the Niners, and I do need to bet that an alt to minus 13.5. See, that's aggressive, but if the odds are all right, we might throw a buck or two on that.
Yeah, that one's not too bad. I expect a blowout. I'm thinking 10, though. Maybe. I could see 14. You never know. Next game up, Seahawks against the Patriots. Both teams 1-0. Seahawks led by Geno Smith, who the internet just told me is Ohio State freshman wide receiver phenom Jeremiah Smith's cousin. Didn't know that, but hey, I learn something new every week. Who are you liking this one?
Yeah, it's Seattle. I mean, the
Seattle?
Patriots got their win last week. I am concerned with the health of Ken Walker the third. That is concerning. But the Seahawks just have too much offensive power. Where I think if they can get a lead against the Patriots, it's going to be tough for the Patriots to come back. Now, Stevenson was fantastic last week. I think he's playing a way better rush defense this week in Seattle. I know it's in New England, but give me Seattle. The spread on that's minus 3.5, which is a weird spread because it's minus Seattle. But road game, I'm probably not going to bet that game. But if I were to bet it, I would take the Seahawks, and I would just alt it to 6.5. Because why not? I mean,
This game's a weird game for me. Seattle traveling all the way to New England. Seattle maybe minus Ken Walker. I'm going to take Seattle in this one. Stick with you there. But I could see.
you were really thinking about it, weren't you?
I was thinking about it. But I thought New England was going to be bad this year.
You big Gerard Mayo guy.
Yeah, Jacoby Brissett just does what it takes to win football games. I saw that here. Miss you, big guy. Would really like to have you back.
He was the quarterback 76 on the T-shirt.
That pretty soon it's going to be what's longer, the amount of names on Deshaun Watson's rap sheet or the names on the fucking jersey for the Cleveland Browns who have started since 99. Giants, maybe, I don't know, Giants at Commanders. Both teams 0-1. Commanders coming off an ass whooping from Baker Mayfield and Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, this defense looks old and slow. It looked bad. Jaden Daniels at times looked all right. Breaking news, Tigers W, climbing. Thank you. It's going to keep popping up and then going away. Tigers climbing, that's good news. The Giants, led by Daniel Jones, who now has more touchdown passes to other teams through pick sixes than he does to his own team, 3-2,
Tough
since
stat.
signing a 4-year, $160 million contract, but allegedly dating Kay Adams, so not all is bad, $40 million, dating Kay Adams. Not a bad life, but you suck at football right now, and your quarterback. Who do you like in this one, in this 3-0 ball game?
I don't like anything, honestly. I guess I'll go with the Giants. I like some of the things I saw out of Daniels last week. I mean, clearly he's able to rush the football. But again, like I talked about Lamar Jackson, that shit's not sustainable at this level. It's just not. So he's going to have to be a pocket passer, which he was very questionable in the way he looked on Sunday. Now, that's not me saying Danny Dimes is dropping any dimes out there. I mean, that's a bad football team too. But this is just like two teams throwing pieces of shit at each other because that's kind of what it is. But I'll take the Giants.
Man, I really like what Jaden Daniels did. The thing I hated about him in college is that he seemed to always have one play where he just should have slid, should have gone out of bounds, and he took a hit he didn't.
He doesn't know how to slide. Did you see him slide? He can't slide. He does like forward tumbles like my daughter at gymnastics.
He needs to get the slip and slide that the Bears were using on Hard Knocks for Caleb Williams. Now, Caleb didn't look great, but we'll get into that in a second here. I'm going to take the Commanders in this one just because I can't stand the way the Giants play in football right now. I do like Malik Neighbors over on receiving. I think it's 67.5 right now. I think he's going to dominate the receiving. I like that. I could see a 75, 80-yard game from him, but we'll see. Moving on to our next game, a little better game, Chargers. Jim Harbaugh, who confused the hell out of his quarterback to start the game. I don't know if any of you saw that. Him pounding on Justin Herbert's pads, and Herbert's like, what? Okay, dude, I got it. Enough. They travel to Carolina. Plenty of tickets still available to face the Carolina Panthers, 0-1, led by Bryce Young.
Now, before they sell up, it's very important to get to the ticket office.
The home opener, and it's this bad. Like, we've had 0 for teams, and we still sold out our home openers because we always had hope. It's bad in Carolina.
Let me ask you this, though. Doesn't this line feel trappy? Chargers -6. Doesn't that, like, if you were to look at what happened last week in this Panthers team overall and how Bryce Young's a small person that can't throw because he can't see anything, and they have no wide receivers in a shit run game. But if you would look at this game, you'd be like, why wouldn't the spread be 12.5?
Yeah.
So
I don't think this feels like a low scoring game. I feel like
total is 39.5.
Yeah. I could see that easily staying under. Like, Chargers want to go in and run the ball. J.K. Dobbins, 10 carries, 135 yards last week. We'll see if that stays. Bryce Young looking bad. Justin Herbert didn't have to do anything. Who are their wide receivers? Ladd McConkey was over 30. I think his over-under was 37.5. He cleared that. Ladd looked good. Josh Palmer going to step up. Who's going to step up outside of the Rook?
I mean, they have Quentin Johnson from last year as well.
Yeah, but he doesn't seem to be able to catch a freaking football right now.
That stinks.
Chargers -6 easy. Like, you're probably right. Like, you should take this. And I also think the under hits at 39. I think this is like a
39 in an NFL game just scares the shit out of me.
17
I don't know why.
I think I played the under in the Giants game last week. I don't remember. It was super low, and I ended up playing it and hit Chargers or Giants Vikings, whatever it was. I'll have to look in a little bit. But yeah, this game, I feel like this is easily Chargers. I'll take the -6. Bryce Young, Dave Canales had a hell of a year with Baker Mayfield last year.
It's not that, dude. It's not that.
Bryce Young looked good at times in Alabama, and we were both C.J. Stroud guys over him. And
the issue for me is he got drafted to a team with 0 weapons. They bring in dog shit 47-year-old Adam Thielen. He's got nobody to throw the ball to. The offensive line is questionable. You have Chuba Hubbard. Your backfield is below average. They literally drafted him to a team and did absolutely everything they could to surround him with shit. Then they turn around, they trade Brian Burns and get fleeced in that trade. It's like the trade for Bryce Young is one of the all-time bad trades that this league's ever seen. They've continued to do dumb shit after dumb shit, and that's where they are right now. And it's like all of those things. Like, Bryce Young has no chance out there. Like, I don't think Bryce Young's good, but Bryce Young's better than what we see on Sundays with the Carolina Panthers. And that's just, it sucks that we always talk about guys getting drafted to the right spot. CJ Stroud got drafted to the perfect spot. He had weapons. They have a young coach. They're like, when you look at the Panthers and everything they do from Dave Tepper down, it's just a disaster.
They brought in Xavier Legette this year. We'll see if he turns out. Jonathan Brooks, maybe a little too late. Jatavian Sanders. It looks like they got a lot of young guys, but it's like they're either super, super young or ancient with Adam Thielen. There's no middle guy where, like,
he just needs a safety blanket, dude. He needs a guy that he – and listen, Adam Thielen statistically had a decent season last year because that's who he was. He was a safety blanket.
Oh, it's the Watson trade.
Yeah.
What trade is worse, Watson trade or the Panthers Bryce Young trade? Watson trade. Because at least you can still think there's hope for Bryce Young being in his second year.
And you don't owe him $230 million guaranteed.
And there's allegedly a out clause, but that out clause will never, ever happen because the league will not let the Browns out of that contract. The owners will not let Jimmy Haslam out of that deal. The players union will not. It's bad. So you're taking the Panthers in this one, right?
Yes. And I'm going to restart my camera real quick.
All All right.
No, the Chargers, and we're taking a -6. I'll be right back.
Up next, Saints traveling to Dallas. It's the Cowboys home opener. Both teams looked really good last week. Saints, 47 points, but look who they played. Cowboys, 33 points. They look pretty solid. Dak didn't have to do a lot in the second half. The run game, we still don't know who's leading that backfield. Zeke had moments that looked real good. But look at the way the Cleveland Browns played football. It was pretty bad. So in this game, you got two teams who looked pretty good, but they also had bad teams they played against. Cowboys at home. Cowboys are the better team. I don't know what the Saints are. I still don't trust Derek Carr. Rashid Shaheed looks pretty good as a guy who can catch deep balls. Pretty good game from Alvin Kamara. What's their tight end situation? What do we see from Taysom Hill? I don't know. I don't know what to expect from the New Orleans Saints. At the same time, Micah Parsons looked good. The Rooks look good on defense for the Dallas Cowboys. I like the Cowboys in this one. We'll see what Drew says if he comes back here soon. But Cowboys should win this one, should win the home opener, go to 2-0, stay up in the NFC East. Dennis Allen, 2 first names, can't trust him 100%. Thought they shouldn't have hired him in the first place. But 47 points last week is what we'll hear. Blah, blah, blah. Drew's back. Welcome back. We're talking Saints at Cowboys, two teams that looked pretty good last week. Yeah. Cowboys home opener. Kyle says Dennis Allen, 2 first names, can't trust him. What say you about this game?
Can't disagree with 2 first name things.
Absolutely.
You have to take the Cowboys here. I mean, the Saints got the privilege of being able to play the dog shit team that we were just talking about.
Yep.
And that game was over from the third play of the game with the bomb. It was in all the Panthers have no offense. All they do is turn the ball over. Their defense isn't good. The defense isn't good for another reason is they're on the field all the fucking time. They can't get off the field because the offense is such dog shit. So again, yeah, give me the Cowboys. The spread's 6.5. It's always kind of a sketchy spread, but I just don't see how the Saints hang around in that game. And Derek Carr is just kind of mediocre.
Basically what I said while you were gone. Colts at Packers. It's Malik Willis against Anthony Richardson. Colts should win this one, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I'm with you.
Malik Willis is bad. Every time we've seen him, he's been real bad. And I hate that Jordan Love's injured right now. I wish Jordan Love the best. But I can't take the Packers here. And I don't think the other thing is Anthony Richardson completed 9 passes last week. You know what I mean? So it's not like this Colts offense is fantastic or good. It's just I don't think Malik Willis is able to move the ball efficiently and consistently, even at home.
Anthony Richardson made some amazing throws last week. He also missed some throws that he could have made. Like, they could have had 5 or 6 plays of 50 or 60 yards. Like, A.D. Mitchell was open 2 times where he could hit him, missed him, threw an amazing bomb that hit Alec Pierce, who's finally doing something in his 3rd year out of Cincinnati, I think. But, yeah, I'm with you. Colts should win this game. Browns at Jaguars. What are you thinking here?
Take the wheel, my friend. I'm going to let you go first.
What is the spread on this one? I think
3.
It was 4.
Jacksonville -3.
Hammer Jacksonville -3 on this one. Listen, Cleveland Browns defense.
Bad day. Not good.
I love the defense. Myles Garrett, Zadarius Smith. I like the corners. Defense, fine. However, if your offense isn't doing shit, you can't win it all alone on defense unless you're going to have a Myles Garrett game that he had in Indianapolis last year. Now, Jacksonville, Evan Ingram, Brian Thomas Jr., Travis Etienne. They gave that game away.
Etienne
last week
personally gave it away.
Yeah, Javon Holland, hell of a play too. I mean, that was a crazy play. But yeah, Etienne should have got in, should have held the ball better. I hate to say it, but until Deshaun Watson shows anything, and you got to spread this close, take it against the Cleveland Browns. Because Deshaun Watson, what you saw last week, you didn't see any hope. You saw one solid drive, but it looked like the Cowboys had backed up on that drive.
Okay, so you're essentially just giving up in life, is what you're saying to me. No, that's what you're saying to me. Because if you don't think that Deshaun Watson could potentially get things right against Jacksonville, then what are we really doing? Who's he going to have to play to get it right? Who's it going to be? What week? I mean, like, do you want him to play the Panthers every week just so we can get some reps and get things going? It's is it done? It seems to me that you saying that it's the Deshaun Watson saga is over and you're ready to move on to Jameis Winston.
Until he shows anything, I'm going against him.
What if they
Trayvon
bench
Walker,
his ass after he
Josh
broke 50
Hines-Allen?
yards in the first half?
They're not going to do it
because it would just be worse than whatever the hell's going on.
You're not going to do it. Like we said, you got to give him these first 4 games. We got to see 4 straight games. If he doesn't show anything, the next 4 games you still play him, and you think, okay, if it doesn't get better by game 8, and he's still playing like he played against the Cowboys, man, you got to bench him at that point. And then you say, you know what? These next 2 years, you're gonna battle a rookie because that first round pick comes back. It's gonna be freaking Quinn Ewers, like I mentioned a month ago. Like it's gonna be someone like that because you're gonna have to have a guy on a rookie contract to be able to play with Deshaun Watson. It's gonna get to that point. But until he actually shows anything, until Jerome Ford shows he can run the football and hit the hole and not run in the back of a guy or try to always bounce it outside, until you can see something from that offense consistent, I don't think you trust him. I want the Browns to win. I hope the Browns win. But Jags -3, that pass rush, I think, is more talented than the Cowboys pass rush that came in last week. Micah Parsons, by far the best player, but DeMarcus Lawrence hadn't had 5 sacks in a year in like 5 years. And he had 2.5 last week. Deshaun ran into 2 of them. If this guy's going to dodge out of the pocket, Trayvon Walker's going to need him look like a first overall pick. Josh Hines-Allen, who had to change his name because he wasn't the most famous Josh Allen in his own sport. That dude's a dog. I mean, this is a solid Jacksonville team. Now, they're a team that never seems to play as well as they should. Doug Peterson gets them close, and they're like, we suck again. Trevor Lawrence, $275 million. Is he really good yet? We still don't freaking know. Travis Etienne, lots of hope. Lots of hope in that guy, but
lots of fumbles.
Doesn't always finish. What are your thoughts on this game?
I like the Jags too. I just want to get you fired up. That's all. We can go on.
I mean, yeah, you're 100% right on it. I mean, it worked. We suck. But I'm not saying we're out of the playoffs yet. I'm just saying I ain't seen shit from this quarterback until I do. Let's move on. Jets and Titans.
Conversation.
Fucking
What are we, Jets and 2? The Titans? Oh, this game sucks too.
11 targets for Garrett Wilson, 6 catches. Breece Hall kind of looked like a dude. Aaron Rodgers looked like a 45-year-old man coming off of, Achilles surgery and a summer of ayahuasca and all that. The Titans, who could have punted on 1st and 10 with their rookie head coach and probably won that game, they need to expect more from Will Levis. They got all kinds of weapons around him. Tony Pollard obviously looks like the lead dog in that backfield. I mean, the Jets should win this game, but I don't know what to expect from this game. I got the Jets, but I don't feel good about it.
No, and I get that. And Will Levis was actually serviceable in the first half. He was somewhat efficient, and then he just came out. It was like, what the fuck is going on?
Fucking went Whedon. Don't go Brandon Whedon.
Yeah, so like I see that it's there, and I think Garrett Wilson's going to be an absolute stud with Aaron Rodgers quarterback because you know how Aaron Rodgers will find a guy, and he'll force feed him like he did Devontae Adams. I think the Jets win this game. It's just a more talented team, but the Jets have to figure out their rush defense because that was bad. I mean, Aaron Rodgers wasn't good, but like they were getting gashed, and they didn't hold the ball very long because San Francisco was running down their throat. So I will take the Jets just because they're more talented, but there's definitely things that need to be figured out on that side. And Aaron Rodgers is just better than Will Levis, and I guess that's as simple as that, dude.
Robert Saleh, good head coach?
No.
I'm with you. Buccaneers at Lions. I have a feeling I know who you're taking in this game. At Detroit.
Yeah, I mean, again, this season started out the exact same way the playoffs end. It was. We played the Rams, and then we played the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers are a really good team. They're down 2 corners, 2 of their starting corners. I think as far as injuries go, they have the worst of it as we speak. Now, the line's 7.5 in this game. I'm still going to take the Lions, but I'm not taking the line. I don't like that hook of the 0.5. I think the Lions get it done. I think the offense looks better. To your point, I think Amon-Ra is more involved this week.
Look, too,
It's
man.
gonna be a week to week kind of thing. Like I don't think every game is gonna be a big JMO game, but I think that his ability to, if he gets involved, to just rip the top off, that's nothing but great for Amon-Ra. And I do think the Lions win this game, but I would stay away from the 7.5. Again, a tough schedule. I know both these games are at home, but these are two legit football teams they're playing here in the first 2 weeks.
The emergence of Jameson Williams, I almost said Jameis Winston. Jameson Williams is massive for the Detroit Lions. That takes that team and shoots them to the upper echelon of offenses in the NFL, as if they already were there. We need the
number 2 receiver. Otherwise, that offense doesn't do what it – I mean, it's that simple. Like, they lost Josh Reynolds, and everybody's like, well, Josh Reynolds is mediocre. He is, but, like, he was very important to what they did
He
last
always
year.
Fit with Jared Goff, even in LA.
Yep.
I'm with you. I think the Lions win this one. I hope y'all make Baker look terrible, just so I can not have to hear that on the radio every now and then. Raiders at Ravens.
Yeah, give me the Ravens. The Raiders, listen, I liked a lot of what I saw from Gardner Minshew last week.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think Gardner Minshew's serviceable. I just think that there's way too many drives that stall out. Like, he can get the ball moving. There's not consistent enough to move the ball. Jacoby Myers looked miserable, and he didn't even look like he wanted to be out there. Also, the Raiders going with like the 2 back-to-back years of tight ends is a wild move in 2024 in the NFL. But that's an interesting wrinkle. But I just don't know if that's what you go about, how you draft people. But give me Baltimore, dude. Imagine just going like 2 first and second round tight end back-to-back years.
Brock Bowers, I get it. He was supposedly a generational talent. He looked good last week, 6 catches, 58 yards, whatever. But Michael Mayer was like, that's a top guy in this draft. That's a guy you really want to get. I'm surprised he made it this long. Now, both those guys can work out. I think Bowers can split out more than Mayer. But, yeah, I'm with you on that. The running back situation didn't look good last week. Alexander Madison, a lot of passing downs, 31-yard. Yeah, White did not look great. They want to run the football. They want to play good defense. I don't think they did either great last week. And when it comes to shutting down tight ends, the Ravens do a really good job of it. So if you got 2 good tight ends, it ain't going to help you much.
And Antonio
Ravens should win this one.
Awful at time management.
Yeah. Learning it.
He punted in enemy territory on like 4th and 1. And like every analytics says you go for it. And he's old school, I guess. I don't know.
It's like, I always say don't hire the interim, but then I'm like, he brought that Raider mystique back. We'll see if it works out long term. Rams at Cardinals.
Rams.
I'm with you. Rams should win this one, even without Puka, who's out at least 4 weeks. Kyler did not look comfortable last week. Marvin Harrison, a lot of hand waving. I mean, I don't know. I'm with
without
you on that
James
one.
Conner. Like, James Conner balled out. Like, without James Conner, that was a bullshit offense last week.
With you. Thought so as well. Still in that game, though, but the Bills seem to always do that. They seem to let people hang in, and then they end up winning the game. Bengals at Chiefs. This is supposedly now some kind of rivalry, but I feel like outside of 1 or 2 games, it's been
Burrowhead,
Chiefs.
Dude, Burrowhead.
Yeah, Burrowhead, whatever. Won the 1 game, made it to the Super Bowl. I feel like they've done shit since. This is a game, I believe it's at, where are we at here? Oh, it's at Burrowhead, you're right.
Yeah.
Bengals go to 0-2?
Yeah. I mean, listen, unless you can talk me off of the cliff of looking at this line at -5 and saying, how did the Bengals cover -5? Like, as bad as they looked last week, but like the NFL, like, it's a week-to-week league, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like these, of course, the Bengals offense has the talent to be legitimate on a week-to-week basis. But man, after last week, I just don't know if you can make an argument for me to pick the Bengals in this game.
There are teams that match up really well against other teams. These 2 teams match up really well against each other. Cincinnati always plays them tough, just like Cleveland always seems to beat Cincinnati no matter what. There are teams that always match up well. I would like to take the Bengals in this, but until I see something where I see Joe Burrow's back or I see Jamar Chase's, healthy, he was dealing with an illness allegedly last week. T. Higgins still, we don't know what he's going to do. that running game. 9 carries for Zach Moss. Are they going to mix in Chase Brown? What are we expecting from this offense? That defense, soft as shit up the middle without DJ Reader.
Yeah,
Like,
DJ Reader starting this week, by the way. No big deal.
I mean, Pacheco could have a good game. I'm with you, Chiefs, on this one. I'll also take the -5. Steelers at Broncos. Hopefully, we get to see Russ come back. Mr. Unlimited. Going back to shove it straight up Sean Payton's ass is what we want to see. But what are we going to see in this?
Does Bo Nix suck again?
Dude, Bo Nix, I didn't think he was that bad. Like,
He
rookie,
was fine.
he was fine as a rookie.
You know my feelings about Bo Nix.
I know. You're a big Bo Nix guy.
Yeah, huge Bo Nix guy. I'll give you the Steelers in this one. I think even if Justin Fields plays, which I think he's going to, those should be able to run the ball with the way Justin Fields plays and use some play action enough to get it done.
I'm going to take the Broncos in this one.
I hope the Broncos win, by the way.
I mean, I have no reasoning other than I just fucking hate the Steelers.
Yeah,
when it comes down to it.
That seems like good reasoning to me. I don't know.
Justin Fields
sucks.
So much talk. Like, I've heard so many people say, "Oh, Justin Fields looked really good. He looked like a guy who could lead the Steelers to the playoffs." I did not think he looked that good. Like,
what game were they watching?
He was 17 of 23. They didn't score a touchdown, and a lot of those points that they got, Chris Boswell was a dog kicking 58-yard field goals. He looked like Brandon Aubrey out there, who, by the way, Mike McCarthy, let Brandon Aubrey kick the 71-yard field goal. That's what the Browns fans wanted to see. We deserve that.
Yeah, you just want the Tucker record off the file.
That's fine, too. But to see a dude hit a 71-yarder in Cleveland with that swirling wind was hurt.
The 66er that did get killed with a timeout or a penalty, whatever it was down the middle.
It was. Brandon Aubrey, hell of a kicker.
Is it just me, or like kickers like the last 5 years all of a sudden have like these fucking crazy legs where they can start kicking? Like,
it's insane.
Were there really like 68 yards? Like nobody was kicking from 60 yards 5 years ago. Like, not consider. I feel like there's like 5 kickers in the league that can do it now.
I feel like growing up, like when a guy hit a 50-yarder, like, whoa, that's a 50-yarder, dude. Yeah. And now a guy's kicking a 58-yarder, like, oh, that's cool. Anyway, back to this. I mean, it's crazy, and I think it started a lot with Justin Tucker doing it and just being probably the greatest kicker we've ever seen. I mean, maybe it was Sebastian Janikowski who really started changing it, but I mean, Seabass was, 6'5", 270 on a
He's
late
a linebacker.
day?
He's a linebacker. Well, he was a linebacker kicker when he started, and then he became a defensive lineman.
It looked like Ted Washington kicking field goals by the time his career was over. Bears at Texans. This is our Sunday night game. Texans, who looked really, really good last week.
Yeah.
And the Bears, who won a game last week. Or did they not lose it? Or did the Titans lose the game? I mean, did they really win it? I mean, 1-0. It's 1-0. But yeah.
Yeah, give me the Texans. I mean, there's not – Caleb Williams looked like dog shit. And
but his nails look nice.
It made me feel so good inside to watch Caleb Williams look like that. The fact that the Bears won was disgraceful. Will Levis, again, should be held accountable with potential prison sentence. I'm not sure what route they go.
Listen, there's only one quarterback that deserves a prison sentence right now, but we'll get into that later.
It's Will Levis.
Yes, Will Levis.
Yeah, give me the Texans.
I got nothing for the Bears. Like, I hope Caleb Williams looks solid in this game, makes it fun. Roma Dunze hurt.
Keenan Allen
did practice. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, lots of weapons, but if you're not on the field, you ain't doing any good. It would
Bears
be fun to
tell you,
see
Cole Kmet's out there. They've been saying how good Cole Kmet's been for 2 years now, and he gets his 32 yards a game.
Yeah. Hey,
but he's sick.
32 yards a game, 17-game season. Those are good numbers now. It's like 1,000 yards doesn't mean that much because you got to average, 60 yards a game? I'm not good at math. Falcons at Eagles, that's our Monday nighter. Birds. Kirk Cousins going to look better than what he looked this past week?
I don't know. I just, I look at that Atlanta offense, and I'm like, there's parts, there's pieces. You bring in Kirk Cousins, who's been a damn good quarterback for a long time. And I'm not saying he's, Mahomes, but he's a solid quarterback. And last week he was pitiful. And again, you have Bijan Robinson. You should be able to move the ball on the ground to an extent. Like that offense is equipped for it. And I don't think the Eagles are that good. Like I know I put them in the top 5 teams earlier. Like that team has some holes and some issues that they're going to need to get panned out. But the reason I put them there is because they do it every year. They figure it out every year. But for me, there's not a way for me to take the Falcons. But I think this game is a close game.
So last year the Eagles were 10-1. The Big Dom suspension came. They collapsed down the stretch.
They did. It's true.
Big Dom was back last week. He was on the field. You could see his big ass on the sideline. Eagles won that football game. Big Dom's there. Eagles win. It's that simple. That's analysis. Now, before we get out of here, you got any best bets you want to do for Ward's Wagers? You're 147, 88, and 5 over the past 3 seasons of the show. Pretty damn good.
That's pretty solid for you. You pulling that up. So I will. A couple games that we talked about earlier. So I will take the Cowboys at -6.5. That's a beautiful line, by the way. That 0.5 before the 7, we love that. Give me San Francisco -6 on the road, Minnesota. And then my third and final pick. And these are all going to win, certainly. Give me the Seahawks -3.5 on the road in New England. Start out quick little 3-0, no big deal.
Like it. Hopefully by this time next week, you're 150, 88, and 5. Damn good record over the past 3 years of the show with last season. I think we took last season off. But that's what we got. Anything else you want to talk about before we get out of here tonight?
I'll do it, man. It was a good time.
Good time, as always. Thanks, everybody, for joining in. We'll have the pod back available on Spotify and all that eventually. I got to work on some things on this end, which I forgot to do again today. But eventually we'll get back there. I got to delete stuff on this end. That'll save the show or whatever. But we'll do that. But as always, remember, if you live a life you love, you'll love the life you live. Good night, kids. End stream, and we wait for the circle.